Okay, so this is our first lecture of the topic GST and Customs Law for Delhi University BCom Honors Semester 6. Now, as far as this topic is concerned, GST and Customs Laws, this is basically an indirect tax where I do not directly pay tax to the government, unlike income tax, where I directly pay to the government through my PAN number. Here, as a consumer of goods or services, I pay the tax to the supplier from whom I am availing the services or from whom I am purchasing the goods. And that supplier pays tax to the government of India. So that is why it is known as indirect tax. It is an indirect tax. Now in 2017, since 2017, we have GST in India, and so many taxes were submerged into this GST. Excise and VAT, CST, and so many small taxes also. These were merged, and then we have now with us GST. So I would like to tell you the background later on, not right now. For the time being, let me show you that how we will study this topic of GST and customs law. So let me share the screen with you. I hope it is visible. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is the font size clear? Is it comfortable? Is this font size?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is our first lecture, lecture 1. The topic is GST and customs law. Now it's an act, basically it's a legal subject. So I will not recommend to you in the initial phases that you directly go for any book. I want you to show how we should refer the original acts in future, not only for this subject but for any topic. So whenever we study any legal subject, it's a combination of so many things. Now let me come to my topic, GST. It's a combination of so many things. So what are those combinations? So what I need to have, what knowledge I need to have if I say that I'm an expert of GST? I must be having the knowledge of GST acts. Okay, acts. I must be the knowledge of GST rules. I must be having the knowledge of notifications. I must be having the knowledge of what else? Circulars. I must be having the knowledge of orders. I must be having the knowledge of court cases. This is the point which you should remember whenever you study any legal subject. Whatever act you are studying, you must first read the act. Then, now act is a very act is not in detail. Act only touches the main format. To help the act, we need some rules. If you remember Income Tax Act, in Income Tax Act, entire salary is finished in 3 sections, sections 15, 16 and 17. That's it. But how do you compute the value of perquisites? Those things are not written in the act. Those things are written in Income Tax Rules 1962. So to help the act, we need rules. So only reading the act, you cannot say that you know everything. Until unless you read other things, then the knowledge of act, only act, is irrelevant. So that is why we must refer rules also. Then so many times notifications also come. You must take the help of notifications, circulars, orders, orders of the regulatory authority, and court cases, honorable Supreme Court cases and respective High Court cases, because High Court cases have the jurisdiction for any one particular state, and Supreme Court rulings are binding on the entire nation. Now, if you talk about GST, then what we will study in GST? So always there are two parties in this: supplier and recipient. Supplier and recipient. So supplier, the person who is selling me the goods or who is supplying me the services. In GST, we normally don't use the word sell. In earlier indirect tax regime, we were using the word selling. Now we are using the word supplying. So sale is nothing but supply. So someone will be supplying something and someone will receive something. So supplier Mr. X supplies goods to me, Mr. Y, and the value of this good is 1 lakh rupees. For example, the value is rupees 1 lakh. On this, for example, there is a GST. So I will add what? GST at the rate of, for example, 18% is the rate. So as a recipient, I will pay additional 18,000 and I have to pay to this person total how much? 1,18,000. I hope the font size is visible. This is what entire GST is. So basically, GST is not a practical subject. It's not a numerical subject. It is only theory. What is numerical? If you know the value, if you know the GST rate, then there is nothing numerical now. If you know the value of the goods or services, if you know the GST rate, then what type of numerical is this? Nothing. You will simply multiply that GST rate and the value, and you will get the amount which you have to pay to the supplier of goods or services. Now, this is what entire GST is. Our foundation of theory must be strong. So I should not think that it's a numerical subject. It's not a numerical. Of course, from theory, you can frame any numerical, but in reality, it's a theory subject. Now, what is theory? I should know how the value is determined. I should know how this value is determined. In this example, I am simply saying that 1 lakh is the value, but in reality, it is not so easy to derive this 1 lakh value. I need to read some sections of GST Act, which will tell me that how this value should be determined on which GST will be imposed. Now, this is my first discussion. So I wanted to give you a little bit idea that what is this GST all about. Now, let me proceed to the next point. So from where we will study, this is another question. So we have the website of CBIC. So from where we should study? Website, the most authentic website, you can say it is the website of CBIC. Do you know what is this CBIC? Anyone who can tell?
So Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs.
Yes, Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs. Okay, it is the regulatory authority, you can say, or not regulatory authority, you can say it is the board basically, which frame the rules and regulations, etc. of the indirect taxes. As far as income tax is concerned, there the board is CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. Now we have Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Custom, and we will refer this website. This is first thing. On this website, what we will find, we have all the acts available of GST. We have all the rules available. We have all the notifications available. And we have all the circulars. And also the orders of the board. These things are available there. Court cases I do not find on this website, because for court cases we have to purchase this subscription of some private companies, where these companies compile the cases and they sell that to the people who are interested. So we have so many companies who are selling this database of compiling of court cases. So that is not available on the website of CBIC. So cases will not be found. For cases, I need to pay. Okay, payment is required for cases. These are not available free of cost. Second thing what I will refer is the material of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. This is the second point. Second source. The study material of CA final level. It is a good material. We should refer that. Rather than referring 100 of different books by different authors, it's better to go for this material. I cannot say that it is 100% correct, but still it is a good material. We should refer it. And that's it. And third, my lectures, if you are interested. If you find these lectures interesting or knowledgeable, you can attend these also, of course, my lectures. So this is third option. Not third option, you can say these are the options. Now serial number doesn't matter. So lectures, study material of ICAI as well as the website. Through this source, we will refer our entire GST as well as custom. Now, let me show you the website of CBIC. Let me share with you the website also. Is the Google visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Font size comfortable?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us see the website of CBIC. cbic.gov.in. So we have here GST, as you can see my cursor, as well as customs. Let us click GST for the time being. This is my GST, and when you move down, when you go down, when you scroll down, you can see this GST laws, rules and rates. Acts, when you click on this acts, there are so many acts available, so many. All are related to GST, all are relevant to GST. Now let me start reading these. IGST Act, CGST Act, Taxation and other laws, relaxation of certain provisions, Ordinance 2020. UT-GST Amendment Act, Compensation Cess Amendment Act, IGST Amendment Act, CGST Amendment Act, Finance Act 20, Finance Act 19, Taxation and other laws, relaxation of certain provisions, Ordinance 2020 issued. 101st Constitution Amendment Act, CGST Act extension to JNK, IGST Act extension to JNK, UT-GST as well as GST compensation to states Act. All these are relevant. All these are relevant for our course. Now it is a different thing that some act is relevant in a great detail and some act is relevant for a very small paragraph. But all these are relevant, and in reality you must know that in future when you do practice anywhere or even in any job other than this taxation department, you must know that how we should refer the original things. So there are so many new terms which you can see from the act: IGST, CGST, UT-GST, Finance Act. Finance Act is not new term. SGST. SGST is missing here. You cannot see SGST here. You cannot see SGST. I will tell you why. Because it is the website of the Union government. SGST Act you will find on the website of different state governments. That is why SGST is not here. Now these are acts. We will refer directly from the act. Then we have rules. CGST rules and IGST rules. Then we have notifications year-wise. Central tax rate, integrated tax rate, union territory tax, its rate, compensation cess, its rate, ordinances, circulars, oblique orders, etc. That's it. So I simply wanted to show you the website. I will make you understand these terms now, but from here we will study our course of GST. This is first website. Let me show you the second website of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, icai.org. Is the website visible now? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So from where you will download this material? It is available free of cost. So from here you will go where? Student section, and from here BOS knowledge portal. Click that. Now just because it is the material of ICAI doesn't mean that it is not relevant for you. And second, just because it is the material of CA final, it doesn't mean that it is very tough. It is very, very easy. The course of CA is very easy. Very, very easy. The problem is we do not read the things. Most of the times we have the habit of reading only from the things, or reading only from that source, or only from that person who knows the text. Rather than going for self-study, we depend on other. That is the main problem, and that is why we think that it is tough. Otherwise, this ICAI is very easy, and the material is also very easy. New scheme. Now you click on final course, and these are different papers. We have to search what? Our 8th paper, indirect tax laws. You click that indirect tax. I hope you are getting this. Then click that study materials. Click that study materials relevant for May 21 and November 2021 examinations. Click that, and this is my entire study material of GST and customs. Okay, this is what my entire material. These are the chapters: introduction, supply, charge, exemptions, place, time, value, input tax credit, registration, tax invoices, payment of taxes, returns, imports and export, refunds, job work, etc., etc. So you can click any chapter and this material is available. For example, let me click chapter 3. This is the material. Now it is of 93 pages. But why it is of 93? Because it is unnecessary wastage of page, because the font size is very big in this material. And there are so many charts, etc. Otherwise, in reality, is not of 93 pages. When you start noting down yourself, you can write it, this chapter, in around 12 to 13 pages. So you have to frame your own notes. So I have shown you the sources from where we will study, the website of CBIC, and the material you can refer from the institute's website, ICAI, and my lectures. I'm saving these my lectures, and I will share after every lecture. I will share what I am noting down. So these three will make sure that our concepts are 100% clear and originally and with theoretically strong background. Now, let me again come back to my screen. So I showed you the sources from where you can also take the I hope it is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let
Yes,
me
sir.
make you understand these different UT, GST, etc., etc., etc. Now, brief introduction. Supplier. Now, this is my first point. Mr. X in Delhi supplies laptop. He supplies laptop to Mr. Y in Delhi. The value of supply is, for example, 1 lakh. And for example, the rate is 18%. Can anyone tell me which taxes I will levy here? Those who have studied GST, can anyone tell me which taxes I will levy here? Anyone who can tell me which taxes I will levy here as far as GST is concerned? For example, GST rate is 18%. How will I charge this GST? Anyone who can tell?
CGST.
CGST and SGST at the rate of 9%.
SGST.
Yes, very good. CGST and SGST. What rate? 9 each, because the rates are equal. This is one thing you must know, that the rates are equal. So 9,000, 9,000. So what do I mean by S? State government. So this 9,000 will go to whom? Delhi government. And this 9,000 center, it goes to whom? Center government. Goods are consumed where? In Delhi. So here the consumption is happening. Mr. Y is whom? Final consumer. Mr. Y is not the supplier. Mr. Y is not a businessman. Mr. Y is, I am Mr. Y. So I'm purchasing this laptop for my own consumption. So I am the final consumer. So this is what the GST is. C means central GST and S is state GST. Now Delhi is not a state. Delhi is a union territory in the Constitution of India. But for the purpose of GST, Delhi is a state. Only for the purpose of GST laws, Delhi will be termed as a state, not a union territory. In reality, it's union territory. As far as administration is concerned, it is union territory. There is no doubt about it. But for the purpose of GST, some union territories are treated as states. Those union territories which have their own chief ministers. In Chandigarh, you don't have, Chandigarh is also a union territory. But in Chandigarh, you don't have an elected representative. Elections are not held. In Chandigarh, the administration is governed by the Lieutenant Governor. But in Delhi, we have elected representative. In Delhi, we have a chief minister. In Puducherry also, though Puducherry also is a union territory, but in Puducherry also we have a chief minister. So those union territories which have their elected representatives, those UTs will be treated as states for the purpose of GST laws. The UTs which do not have elected representative, those UTs will remain UT. Is this point clear? Please raise your hand if this example is clear. That if I know the GST rate and if I know that where goods are consumed, now where goods are consumed daily, in reality it is not the exact case. We have different technical terms: interstate supply, intrastate supply. For the time being, I am giving you a very simple example. In reality, I do not check this on this basis. Just because Mr. Y is in Delhi, it doesn't mean that CGST or SGST will be charged. Just because Mr. Y is in Delhi, it doesn't mean that Delhi government will get the revenue. But since it is the first class, so I would like to make you believe that check the location of recipient, but it is not true in real life. After some classes, I will tell you that for this we have to study a separate topic which is known as place of supply. Just because the Y, in my example, just because Y is in Delhi, it may not be the place of supply. For this we have a separate topic. How do we check place of supply? There may be so many examples where supplier is in USA, recipient is in Canada, but still the tax is paid in India. Supplier may be in USA. For example, some person is in Canada and that person has availed some interior designing services or interior architectural services from Mr. Y, who is in USA. So recipient is in Canada, supplier of those services is in USA, but still it is possible that GST is paid in India. So we do not check in real sense the location of recipient. We have to study in detail a topic, place of supply. In this example only, since it is the first class, you assume that just on the basis of location of recipient we take the decision just for this class only. In reality, I will tell you later on what is this place of supply. Now please raise your hand if this concept is clear, that on the value you have to simply charge center plus state or center plus UT. Like I will give you an example of Chandigarh. Now in the same example, had Mr. Y been in Chandigarh, do you know what tax I would have charged? In the same example, continuing the example, now in the same example, had Mr. Y been in Chandigarh, do you know how I would have computed the tax value? I would have written 1 lakh, add what? CGST, and do you know what I would have added? UTGST. Because Chandigarh is a union territory and it does not have an elected representative. We don't have any CM in Chandigarh, so it is UTGST. Amount is same, 9%, 9%. So it is what? 1 lakh, same thing. But now this 9,000 will go to whom? Chandigarh administration. And this 9,000 will go where? Center. I hope these examples are clear. Please raise your hand if these are clear. Please raise your hands. Any problem? Kindly ask, otherwise please raise your hand so that I get to know that you are getting what I am saying. Okay, most of the students Good to know this point. Now, one another question which can arise. I hope this screen is again visible. Now, one question which may arise or which can arise is what? Why center is getting the revenue? If the goods are consumed in Delhi or Chandigarh, why center will get the revenue? Always center is getting 50% of GST. Why? Can you tell me why center is getting revenue when the goods are consumed in Delhi or Chandigarh? Why we should give to the center? Anyone who can tell me? Anyone who can tell me सेंटर को क्यों दे रहे हैं हमारे पास 50%? क्यों दे रहे हैं? गुड्स दिल्ली में कंज्यूम हुए हैं, चंडीगढ़ में हुए हैं, सेंटर को क्यों देंगे हम? Why? Anyone who can tell me? Anyone who can make an attempt that why I should give 50% every time to the center? कोई नहीं बता सकता?
So I think because center has the right to collect taxes so that it is compensated for all the expenditures that it incurs.
कोई राइट नहीं है, नहीं सेंटर का क्यों राइट है? दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट राइट क्या है? कोई राइट नहीं है, राइट की राइट वाली बात नहीं है. दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट कह सकते हैं सारा काम हम कर रहे हैं, खर्चे भी तो दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट ही कर रही है 50% में. राइट वाली कोई बात नहीं है. और कुछ बताइए. एनीवन? भाई अगर इंडिया में गुड्स कहीं भी कंज्यूम हो रहे हैं, इंडिया में गुड्स कहीं भी कंज्यूम हो रहे हैं, सेंटर तो कुछ है ही नहीं, हर चीज को स्टेट ही है. देयर इज नो सच प्लेस विच ओनली बिलोंग्स टू द सेंटर. एवरी प्लेस इज इधर बिलोंग टू ए स्टेट और यूनियन टेरिटरी. तो अगर सेंटर को कोई कुछ नहीं देगा तो सेंटर आएगा कहां से? सेंटर के पास पैसे कहां से आएंगे खर्च करने के लिए? हाईवेज के लिए, सैलरीज के लिए, बिल्डिंग्स के लिए, जॉब्स के लिए, रेलवेज के लिए. इफ एवरी स्टेट और यूनियन टेरिटरी स्टार्ट सेइंग दैट it is our area, then what center will say? That entire India is our area. So ultimately center particularly has no place of its own. So that is why wherever you consume the goods, by default it is treated at that place for the purpose of GST belongs to whom? Center as well as state, or center as well as union territory, because center has no place of its own. Entire nation, basically the center is of entire nation. You can say that our entire nation, the center has a role to play. In some cases it has a more role to play, in some cases it has very less role to play. For this we have to study the Constitution of India, 7th schedule, union list, state list, concurrent list, etc, etc. But particularly center itself has no such place. So that is why wherever goods are consumed, 50% belongs to the center and 50% belongs to the state or that respective union territory. If it is clear, please raise your hand. Okay, now let me proceed. Next point now. So what basically I need to check? The point which you should remember, whether there should be a SGST or UTGST. Now out of these two, always one thing will happen. Both cannot happen. This is one thing. Always any one will happen. ये दोनों एक साथ हो ही नहीं सकते कभी. because either one place is a state or one place is a union territory. So always one. If Chandigarh it was UT, if Delhi it is S, if it is Haryana it is SGST, Uttar Pradesh SGST, Puducherry SGST, Dadar and Nagar Haveli UTGST. So always one thing happen, but it will be combined with what? CGST, always CGST. CGST will always be there. So it is what? Whenever the supplies are intrastate. So this is a new word, intrastate. So technically, I never take any decision on the basis of where the location of recipient is. Just like in earlier example, I told you if the recipient is in Delhi, then it is S, and if the recipient is in Chandigarh, it is UT. In reality, I take the decision on the basis of this word, interstate supply. Sorry, not intrastate. So this is what I need to check. If the supplies are intrastate, then the GST will be combination of what? GST will be combination of what? CGST plus what? Either SGST or UTGST, that you have to check. This is what intrastate. And when the supplies are interstate, a small example will be when supplier is in Delhi and consumer is in Mumbai. Interstate. Then we don't have any center and state. Then it is only integrated tax. So whenever the supplies are interstate, then there is no combination. We have only one tax, IGST. I means what? Integrated. It is integrated. For intrastate supplies, C plus S oblique UT. S or UT, any one thing will happen. C plus S or UT, whatever is the case. For interstate, it is only integrated, but rate is same. For example, for the same product, if center was 9%, state or UT was 9%, then IGST is by default how much? 18%. So this is the main thing, that IGST is what? 18%. IGST is always equal to, you can say C plus S or UT. CGST plus SGST oblique UTGST, whatever is the case. This is another point. Intrastate supplies, where you have center plus state or center plus union territory. Interstate supplies, only integrated tax. This is the point of intrastate and interstate. Now, if these are these 2 points integrated, etc., etc., so that is why we have acts now. So which acts we have? To deal with all interstate supplies, we have an act which is known as IGST Act, and that you have seen on the website. To deal with all interstate supplies, I need to read Integrated Tax Act. It is basically for interstate supply. Similarly, to deal with intrastate supply, I need to read 2 acts, or you can say 3 acts. CGST plus SGST so CGST Act and SGST Act. It is for intrastate. And similarly, or what can happen? CGST Act plus UTGST Act. Because any one thing will happen. It is also intrastate because it depends upon the place whether you are in state or union territory. and we have to study which acts? CGST Act, SGST Act, and UTGST Act. But in our course, only CGST Act is there. It is in our course. It is in our course. Only CGST. In our course, SGST Act is not there and UTGST Act is not there. Why? Because all the entire CGST Act is as it is same for every state as well as for every union territory. Otherwise, there would not have been a common GST. The only difference will be in this act, wherever you have the word center, wherever you have the word center, when you read Delhi SGST, they use the word Delhi rather than center, they will use the word state. If you read Haryana GST Act, State Act, then entire CGST Act is as it is same in Haryana also. The only thing will be in this CGST Act, wherever the word center is written, that state will use its own name. This is the only change. That is why in any course, not only graduation, even in CA final or any level, they don't teach you SGST or UTGST, because what is the change? Entire CGST. So if anyone knows CGST, by default that person knows SGSTs as well as UTGST. So there is no need to study separately different states act or union territory act. Why? Because if you study CGST act, then the same concepts are applicable to any state as well as to any union territory. The only difference will be there is a change in which word. In the CGST, wherever the word center is written, in this state, you will not find the word center, you will find the name of that state. In union territory, rather than center, you will find the name union territory. That's it. So now we have only two acts in our course. For the time being, two acts, IGST Act and CGST Act. Please raise your hand if you get this point. Till this point, if you have any query, please ask, otherwise raise your hand. Okay. So let me open an act for you, and I'm starting now with my first concept, and that is what? So I will show you how to read the acts. So let me open the website of CBIC. Acts, and I hope you can see the website, and I am opening what? CGST Act. First point, CGST Act. This is the act. Can you see this act? Can you see this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, Gazette of India, 12th April 2017. Now, what it says? Ministry of Law and Justice, Legislative Department, New Delhi, 12th April 17. The following Act of Parliament received the assent of the President. The following Act of Parliament received the assent of the President on the 12th April 17 and is hereby published for general information. The Central Goods and Services Tax Act 2017, number 12. Now in 2017, it was having the serial number 12. That means 11 more acts were there in 2017 before 12th April 17. Starting from 1st January 17 till 11th April or till 12th April 17, before this act, 11 acts were already there. Now, what is the name of this act? Central Goods and Services Tax Act 17. And this is always, this line always tells you what this act is all about. Always, for any act, you will find that introduction tells you what this act is all about. An act to make a provision for levy and collection of tax on intrastate supply of goods or services or both by the central government and for matters connected therewith or incidental thereto. That means all the issues, penalties, prosecutions, fines, collections of tax, administration, whatever is there in intrastate supply, all the issues will be dealt with as per the provisions of CGST Act 2017. Being enacted by Parliament in the 68th year of the Republic of India as follows. Chapter 1. Every act has some chapters. So it is my chapter 1, preliminary, section 1, and this italic is subsection 1. So section 1, subsection 1 says this act may be called the Central Goods and Services Tax Act 17. Section 1, subsection 2 says it extends to the whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. In 2017, initially J&K didn't agree. They said that no, J&K government said that we think that GST is an encroachment, because initially in 17 J&K has its own constitution also. So many provisions were not applicable in J&K earlier, at least in 2017. So J&K government didn't agree for it. That is why the center said that it extends to the whole of India except the state of J&K. But from which date it is applicable? Just because any act came or published on 12th April 17, it doesn't mean that it is applicable on 12th April 17. Act will tell me from which date I am applicable. Act will tell me from which date act is applicable. Section 1, subsection 3 says that it shall come into force on such date as the government by notification in the official gazette appoint. So act came on 12th April 17, but it was not made applicable from 12th April 17, because section 1 subsection 3 says different dates will be given to make applicable different provisions of the act, because it was not easy. Earlier we were in the indirect tax old regime where we had excise, VAT, etc. So government gave some time. Depending on those situations, gradually government started making the provisions of this act applicable from different dates. This is how we should read the act. Section 1. So this is first point of CGST. Now let me show you the rules also of CGST. On the same website, these are the rules. CGST Rule 17. These all are different rules. These are known as rules. The heading is CGST Rule 17. So again, now it is Rule 1. It is not Section 1, because I am reading not the Act. In Act we have section. In rules we have rule. So it is Rule 1. I hope the point is clear. It is not Section 1. Don't read it as Section 1. It is Rule 1. These rules may be called the Central Goods and Services Tax Rule 17. They shall come into force with effect from 22nd June 17. So we have so many rules. Rules simply tell me the process of doing the things. Let me show you a simple example. Rules tell me which form I should fill. It is form GST, CMP. I will tell you those later on. REG. These are forms. So rules always tell you the process, how you should achieve that process, how you should do the things. Acts never tell you how you should do the things, because act is made in the parliament and parliament cannot sit just to frame the rules. Parliament gives you the broad foundation of that act. Now how that act should be implemented, then it is the job of the rules. Rules tell me so many things. So in rules you find these points, how you should fill, in what time limit you should fill, etc, etc. These are rules. Then we have what? Why I'm showing you these things? Because we will refer these things. Notifications. If you click notifications, then there are different types of notifications. What are these? Central tax, it is CGST. Central tax rates. For rates, we have separate set. Rate. It only tells you the rates of different rates on different products. There are hundreds and lakhs of products. It tells you different rates. Integrated tax rate. Union territory tax rate. Compensation cess rate. I have not told you this compensation cess. I will tell you this later on. Let me click central tax. Now these all are notifications available online. I hope the font size is also clear. Now this is year 2021. Let me show you the first notification which came in 2017. So you have to select that year, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. In 2017, let me check the first date. This is my first notification. It is my notification 1 2017. The heading is central tax. It is CGST dated 19th June 17. Now when you click it, this was my first notification, and what it says. This is how you should learn the art of reading the notifications also. It was notification. Now the board is what? Central Board of Excise and Custom. Because at that time, CBIC was not CBIC, it was CBEC, Central Board of Excise and Custom. After some time, they renamed this board, Central Board of Excise and Customs, as CBIC, Central Board of Indirect Tax and Custom. This was the first notification, and what it says, every notification tells you under which section it has been issued. So what it says, in exercise of the powers conferred by subsection 3 of section 1. Now do you remember section 1 of the Central Goods and Services Tax Act? Do you remember that? I showed you that. I showed you CGST Act, section 1 subsection 3, where it was mentioned that different provisions will be applicable from different dates as per the notification of central government, and that is why it says that under which powers it has been issued. The notification itself says that I am issued under section 1 subsection 3 of the CGST Act, and government fixed which date, 22nd June 17, not for all these sections. For which sections? These are different sections that these will come into force. We are not supposed to learn this, but you must know that how in real life we deal in the courts as well as in the at higher level practice or in consultancy. We don't totally depend on the books. We always check through this way that this section is applicable, because at higher level the fight is not how the calculations were made. The fight is what? That whether this provision itself is correctly applicable or not. हायर लेवल पे कोई ये फाइट नहीं करेगा कि इसने 1000 रुपए 10,000 20,000 गलत कैलकुलेट कर दी, ये हायर लेवल का काम ही नहीं है. वहां फाइट इसलिए होगी कि ये प्रोविजन सही है या गलत है. इट इज एप्लीकेबल, whether it has been made applicable correctly or wrongly. So that is why they always read the language of the act or notification, because these are having legal binding in the courts. Books have no binding in the courts. Circulars don't have any binding, but act and notification, these are having legal backing. These are admissible in a court of law in India. Now this is what the notification. So this is how we will read the notification. That was the first notification. If I show you another notification, those I will show you later on. But I told you that from CBIC website we will refer the act, rules, notifications as well as circulars. And in the next class we will start one section which deals with the levy and collection. So my next topic in the next class will be levy and collection, and I will start showing you the language of the act, and I will read from the CGST Act, and then we will discuss that point. Now that's all from my side. If you have any doubt which you want to discuss, you can discuss. Otherwise, let me have the attendance. So in the next class, we will start a different topic. This first class was only an introduction. So that's all from my side, and you please wait.